Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. It's mid-April, and I wanted to share with you today some tips and ideas on how you can grow potatoes in containers. So I'm really glad you could join me today. So anyhow, we love potatoes here at Plant Smart Living. In fact, since I've adopted this type of plant-based lifestyle, the starches, the rice and potato, that's really our fuel source for living, and add to that some fruits and vegetables, of course. But anyhow, I thought I would do something different today, and that was to grow some potatoes in containers. Right behind the camera, I grew some red Norland potatoes and about a month ago, and so I hope to plant some more also in the ground in a week to come. But anyhow, what I have here as far as a container, if you've seen one of my earlier videos on how to build a indestructible raised garden bed out of a 55-gallon container. Well, this was one of the containers from a 55-gallon plastic drum, and so it's 16 inches high and 23 inches in diameter. And I ended up drilling some holes in the bottom. You want to make sure you do that. And then what I also did is I drilled a 1/2-inch hole on both sides of the barrel and then put a rope in there. So you have a nice handle to hold the barrel. And you could also use this for container gardening or to grow plants in, but I put the handles here so at the end of the season for growing potatoes, once they die back, the handles will help it make it easier to turn over the barrel. So what I'm going to do is put this on the ground, and then I'm going to fill this with about 3 to 4 inches of our compost amended with topsoil. So I have next to me my wheelbarrow filled with my, again, composted leaf mulch amended with topsoil. And what I'm going to do is just put about 3 to 4 inches in the bottom of the barrel. So that ended up taking about 6 shovelfuls of this compost. And so again, they're going to give you about 3 to 4 inches on the bottom of the barrel. So the variety that I'm using here is the Adirondack potato. It's a blue skin, deep blue flesh. It's flavorful for mashing or salads. It's also a mid-season potato where it takes anywhere from 110 to 120 days for it to mature and die back. But anyhow, these are certified seed potatoes. And so these are about this little bit bigger than the size of an egg. And I always try to get my potatoes or seed potatoes early season. That way I can pick the small ones. I don't have to get the big ones and cut them and slice them and then replant them, because I'm always worried about cutting them and may subject them to more disease. Well, what makes these certified seed potatoes is that they grow these in a disease-free soil, and so this is why they can call them, it's guaranteed not to have disease or fungus in it. So that's why they can call these certified seed potatoes. And what I'm going to be doing is planting 4 of these in this 23-inch diameter by 16-inch deep barrel. So what I did is I just put my hand in the barrel, stuck my fingers in there, and make sure you have about 3 inches of soil in the bottom. And again, you might want to use like a container soil for, something specifically designed for container gardening, potting soil. It's a soilless medium. It's not real dense. It allows the roots to really spread out, and it's nice and light. But what I have here is some of my alfalfa pellets, and I'm going to just sprinkle some of these in the bottom of the barrel right now. And again, I have about 3 inches of my compost in here. And you know, potatoes grow up, they don't grow down, and so those pellets there will break down over time, and they feed the potatoes, you know, some nice nutrients that they're going to require as they grow. And so I'm simply going to take these 4 potatoes and try to plant them with the eyes up if you can. It really, it's not going to matter. But they do recommend growing these about 10 to 12 inches apart. And so 4 of these in the container here places them about 10 inches apart and about 4 to 5 inches away from the edge of the barrel. And then you're going to want to backfill this with some about 2 inches of compost. So I'm just going to take some more compost from my wheelbarrow and drop a few more inches, an inch or 2 over the potato. I wouldn't put any more than that. And then just gonna spread it out with my hands there. And you know, over a period of time, these are going to grow about 6 to 10 inches high, and then you'll want to add another 4 to 6 inches of soil. You know, you want to hill your potato plants up as they grow and mature. And I would also, you know, a month down the road, add a little bit more of the alfalfa pellets, or you know, whatever type of fertilizer you do want to use. You do want to go light on the nitrogen, because potatoes like a lot of, you know, phosphorus and potassium, since they are a root vegetable. So after you have the potatoes covered with a couple inches of soil, then you just want to, you know, water them in nicely. Nice gentle watering. And then, you know, as with any type of container gardening, you know, you want to keep an eye on the plant. You know, you may want to have to water these maybe once a day. You have to keep an eye on it and see how dry the soil is. But you know, since these plants are in containers, they dry out faster, and so you do want to keep an eye on that. And so anyhow, I'm looking forward to having some fresh potatoes in this container. And we love our potatoes here, and so I'm looking forward to also having some of my Swiss chard and the kale that's growing right now, have them as a nice meal together. So anyhow, I'm glad you joined me today, and hope you learned something from this video. And so anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining me today. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.